This week on the $1 Million Plan, we talked to Wendy. She's a member of a military family. She wants to move from Ohio to California, and we wanted to make that happen, and so many other things. And she joins us now. Hello, Wendy.
Hi, Pete.
So you're a military family. That can mean a lot of things. It can mean you're the mom of a person in the military. It means you're in the military. It means you're significant other. What is the exact nature of you being a military family?
My husband is in the military. He's active duty Air Force. Active
duty Air Force. We won't get into the details of specifically what he does, but I will say this. Thank you for his service and for sharing him with our country.
Oh, thank you.
It's always nice to drive by the Air Force Academy when you're in Colorado Springs and just see that's such a cool place, you know. I'm sure you've been there a million times, right?
I have been there 0 times.
Really?
Yeah. I've been to a total of 3 bases my whole life.
Oh, well, I'll tell you. It's beautiful. So what are we doing today? What are we hoping to accomplish in our time together?
Okay, so I think that our financial situation, our life now is in really good shape,
okay.
But the problem is he's going to get out of the military relatively soon, and we are going to move. Our plan is to move back home to California, where everything is insanely expensive.
Okay.
And I'm just a little worried. We're both looking for jobs out there, but you know, he's in the running for 2 jobs potentially that he could get there, and he has a pretty good feeling about them. I've been applying for a while and still looking. So my concern is that we'll move out there. We'll have to cut our income, you know, maybe by half, maybe more, and I don't know exactly how we'll make that work.
So what's unique about your situation is right now from an income perspective, if things just kept going the way they are and your expenses remain the same, you have a brilliant financial life. And I think that probably adds pressure to the situation, no?
Yeah, I like having the financial life we have now. I'm very used to it. It makes me feel very safe. And if it changes, I just feel a lot of anxiety about that.
So your gross annual income is $214,000 with a net monthly income of $11,000. That's phenomenal, and I would say especially in the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
But then you take that to a coast, and then first of all, you're trying to figure out if you can replicate that. Number 2, even if you replicate that, it needs to be more than that because the cost of living is so much higher, right?
Yeah, I think a lot more than that.
Yeah. So how does that break down? How's the 2-4? Are you working as well?
I am.
I would assume our members of our military, although they are important, are probably not making $214 a year on their own.
No, not quite. So I'm making around $126, a little more than that a year. His salary is around $65, but then we also get base housing allowance and some other funds as well. So that brings him up to closer to 85 or 90.
I always like when people say around, and then the next thing they say is a very specific number, like 126. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, sure. So the nature of your work, I mean, you've clearly thought of this. I'm just curious. Could you do exactly what you do now out there, or do you need to be where you are to do what you do?
No, I can definitely do it out there. The problem I'm facing out there is, I think, one, applying from far away is a problem. People don't really like to see that. They don't know that why we're moving, really.
Sure.
And then the other problem is the market out there is very competitive.
Okay.
So finding a job with all the other candidates out there is difficult.
What sort of field? I mean, you don't have to get super specific. Now, I'm just curious now. What sort of field are you in?
I'm a lawyer.
Okay. Am I being billed for this?
No.
Okay, good. I was just like
I'm not that kind of lawyer.
Oh, good. I paid my retainer this morning. And you say, well, why does he have a retainer? He must get sued a lot. No, but I do have a lot of intellectual property. Moving on. So, okay, so this is sort of adding up in my mind. Do you think he could easily replace the income he makes in the military with a different job out there? Or is that the easy part compared to you trying to secure work?
So when we originally started looking out there, our assumption was that I would be able to find a job sooner. But as it happens, I'm having a little more trouble. So the 2 jobs he's in the running for actually they both pay around $130.
Wow, okay. So
he would be making more.
Yeah, so let me back up for a second. Why do you want to move out there? I know you're from there, right?
Yeah. Well, he's from there. I'm actually from Buffalo, but all of our families live out there now. So my sister, my parents, his siblings, aunts and uncles, everyone's out there.
And so is it going to get a support system? Is that the nature of the move?
Yeah, That's mostly the idea. We have 2 young kids. They're 18 months and 3.
Oh,
And in my mind, I just really like them to be close to my parents before, just get to know them before they can't get to know them anymore.
sure. No, absolutely. Is it so? Do you view this move as it's happening? We just have to figure out the logistics, or is it we'd like it to happen if we can figure out the logistics?
It's hard to say. Honestly, it's kind of in the middle. So we are
Right.
proceeding as if it's happening.
Okay.
But we're not, because we have, I have him employed now, and he has a few months before he has to get out. We have a little bit of time, the luxury of time. And then as a backup plan, we actually are also applying to jobs in another Midwestern city that we've lived in before, that we like a lot, where the cost of living is much more reasonable and comparable to here.
Okay. Excellent.
So we have a couple different plans in place, just in case.
So not to salt your wounds, and not that there are any wounds, but I do want to say if we projected forward exactly what you're doing now, I want to take a look at what the result would be. And I know generally this would be a good thing, but I think this actually ends up complicating your situation.
I know.
You will be a millionaire on February 23rd of 2025. If you
Oh,
were,
that's so soon.
I mean, ellipses, if things stay the same, right? I mean, it's like
Right.
you're putting $3,000 a month, all told, towards your future, right? And you have 347,000. Oh, let me correct that. You have about $347,875 dedicated to long-term savings. So, and then if we take this even further to say, well, what's that looking at age 67? You'll have. Oh, I'm so sorry. What I'm about to do. You're going to have $7.6 million.
Right.
$17,748 a month of income, which will feel like $8,600 a month of income now. In other words, since you're saving $3,000 a month on your $11,000 net month income right now, you would live the exact same lifestyle you live right now on your investments alone. Forget a military pension or Social Security or whatever else is available. And now we get back to reality.
I know, we're messing everything up.
Oh my gosh. You know what though? I think this reminds me of those situations when people say it's not about the money. And of course people with money are really the only people that say it's not about the money, but you've put yourself in a position to make this decision.
Yeah.
And then we just need some pieces to fall into place, right?
Yeah. I mean, the problem could solve itself if I could somehow get a job.
Okay, yeah, if you think about, so how much more, okay, you guys make 214 now, and pick your city out there, North, Central, or South California, where Southern California. We need to know how much more than 214 do you need to make in order to live the same lifestyle? Do you know the answer?
Yeah, and that was one of my questions for you. Is I tried to estimate it, but I have no idea if I'm doing it correctly.
Well, are we talking Southern California or Northern?
Southern.
Okay, so here's what I know. The way you make that financially work is that you just move way the hell away from where you actually want to move to, right?
Yeah.
If you want to have your life in Santa Monica, that means you're like living in Pasadena, right? I mean,
Oh, God. Yeah,
right,
and then I commute 10 hours a day.
Right. I mean, and that's the nature. I have family that does that and work in Santa Monica, live in Pasadena. I mean, that's just what happens if you're not making an exceptional amount of money. Now, here's the thing. 214 in the Midwest is great. Right? You're a Midwest 1%er.
Yeah.
Out there, not so much. So let's look at some other factors in this. How much do you have you have no debts. You have a car loan. At $744 a month, what the hell is it? A tank? What?
Yeah.
$744 a month. What is it?
It's a Subaru Forester.
God, so many people on my show drive Subarus. It's unbelievable.
A very practical car, Pete.
It is. Jeez.
And I'll say this: it's for my husband, and I let him get it, or we decided he could get it.
Yeah.
Because I felt bad that I was basically making him get rid of the jalopy he's been driving since he was 16. He loves that car. We took pictures of it before he gave it away.
Does he say like cool pilot lines and stuff being in the Air Force? Does he say like really cool things like cool guys would say?
No, because then I think the actual cool pilots might beat him up.
Oh,
he's not a pilot.
Oh, so he can't act like he's a pilot because that's, not cool.
That would not be cool.
My cousin, speaking of military, and for some reason I'm bringing this up. So as we record this, we're in the midst of Harvey going on right now in Houston.
Yeah.
My cousin is a Navy helo pilot. He flies helicopters. He, as you and I sit here on the phone, he's picking people up out of baskets, out of the floodwaters right now. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it really puts my quote-unquote problems in perspective.
It really. I haven't complained about anything in like 3 days. Have you?
No, I haven't. I mean, I felt anxious about this, but I've kept quiet about it because
It's still a problem. I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean, so you are renting now, right? Because you're a military family. Would you buy when you go out there, or would you rent to get your feet under you?
Well, our assumption until basically yesterday was let's find a house we can buy for less than the VA loan amount, so that we would still put 10% down, even though we don't have to because we wanted to reduce the funding fee.
Right.
But then yesterday I started to rethink it, and I thought, why add that stress? Maybe we just go out there, find some place that's not really ideal to live, but just rent it while we, like you said, get our feet under us and try and figure out what's happening.
I would absolutely do that. I mean, you want to, you know how, maybe this is you. You know how people tend to like get a new job, have a baby, get a new car, move all at the same time? You know how that stuff always happens at once?
Yeah, we did that.
I know. So do we. Like the same. It always happens. You can prevent that by renting at least for a year while you're out there. Plus, to prevent you from doing the whole Pasadena work in Long Beach thing, right? I mean, you can maybe rent instead of try to become a homeowner, which would then, of course, push you further east or north, right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is neither of us has ever purchased a home before, so that whole process is also on its own very scary to us.
What's that show, House Hunters or whatever, where you could be like a bracelet designer and he can be a basket weaver, and you're like, our budget's $1.9 million or something like that.
Exactly.
I can't watch those shows. Yeah. Let's try to rectify some things as they come along. I would 100% endorse the idea of renting. I think buying a house the second you get out there is a giant mistake. Too much pressure.
Okay.
I do wonder, though, how much money a month do you really need to live? Because if you're making $11,000 a month, how much of that $11,000 a month are you not spending? Because it's not the whole $3,000, because that's coming out of the gross. So how much of the $11,000 are you really living on right now?
Yeah, so the $11,000 is what we're spending after we've contributed the $3,000.
Right. Okay.
And then I actually did this Monday in preparation for this call. I went back and I looked at all of our expenses for the last 12 months, and our average spend for the last 12 months was a little over $8,600.
Okay. So $2,400 it would be the surplus, the average surplus.
Yeah, but then I also looked at our average amount saved, and that was actually more towards $3,000, and I think the addition is from tax refund and then some cash gifts and something else. So we were saving on average $3,000 a month after we saved the $3,000 to our retirement.
Where can I get some of those cash gifts?
You could get really great parents like I have.
Oh man, I do have great parents. I don't see the cash gifts. So interesting. Okay, so let's say $8,000, basically $100,000 a year of Midwest net income is what you live on. So to trump it up, and I shouldn't use that, to increase that amount adjust for the West Coast, where no one talks about Trump, I would say, I don't know. I mean, another 60%?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, here's the other thing, too. Let's say I can't find a job right away. Then I'll stay home. The kids will stay with me. So that cuts out $2,000 a month in daycare costs.
Well, so you're, okay, we got to make another adjustment here. So the $2,000 a month is in Midwest daycare costs.
Right.
Okay. Now, dude, Wendy, out there, you're talking $3,200 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right.
So that's good. It still takes that $8,000 in Midwest money to $6,000 now, right?
Yeah.
So then he would just have to net $6,000, but then it would again have to be adjusted for West Coast money. This is like a game of Tetris.
I know.
So his offers
I had to make a chart.
Yeah. So his offers at 125. Is that what you said?
130.
130.
Yeah.
And he would still have to aggressively save for retirement. I mean, would you have him max it out at 18,000?
Well, see, when I was doing the math, it seems like if he were to take that job at that salary, we would basically just be paying for a living. We wouldn't be able to save anything. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, man. Now you've got a hell of a start at $347,000 in long-term savings at only age 38. I mean, that'll double 3 times if you never added anything else to it by the time you retire. So 350 plus 350 is 700, and then 700 becomes 1.4 and 1.4. That's going to become 2.8 million on its own.
Okay.
Okay. How about that
Yeah.
math? I was using my fingers and toes there. Oh man, it's been a long travel week. Yeah, interesting. Because then by moving out there to get the quality of life you want, to get the support system you want, for you to be able to temporarily stay home until you find your gig, you still are then, again, sacrificing the long-term future to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that end, so when I did this whole project on Monday, I looked at every category where we were spending a lot of money and tried to figure out where we could shave a lot of stuff off.
And?
So I think that we can honestly, realistically, bring our spending down from 86 to 76. So bring it down $1,000.
Okay, that helps.
But we have to be really intense about it.
Who's more? I get this feeling, Wendy, that you might be the intense one about this.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And so, who's the spender? Is your husband the spender, or does he just do what you say?
He does. He's very supportive. He does what we agree we will do. But I am always the one that has the idea of what to do, and he agrees.
I like that.
But I mean, he doesn't spend a lot, and I try not to. But I buy everything for the house, so I am technically spending more.
Are you saving for the kids' college right now?
We are putting $250 per child a month automatically into their CSPs.
Yeah. And
then the cash gifts my parents give us are really for their college funds.
Okay. Yeah, so that's fine. I probably want to continue on and not budget that out, right, of the equation.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, you've got $30,000 in savings right now, and if you were to rent, then that wouldn't be down payment money. But do you view that as future down payment money potentially?
Which money?
The $30,000 in savings?
Oh, no. We have $80,000 in a down payment fund.
Look at this. Look at this. So that $30,000 really is if it hits
Emergency.
the fan. Yeah, so you're good to go. Yeah, I love your situation. Like this is one of those. It really isn't about money. It's if you can make the jobs work, because I think you can probably adjust your lifestyle at least for a few years. I mean, that's the other thing. You guys are young. The kids are young. Everything doesn't have to work perfectly for the next 3 years. I mean, you can have some less than ideal economic conditions and survive it just fine for 3 years.
Yeah, and just hope I find a job sometime in the near future.
Right. I mean, everyone loves lawyers. They love talking to them. You know, they
know.
love telling jokes about them. It's great.
We're everyone's favorite.
Yeah, we love them. What else? You guys have life insurance? You know I'm going to ask that.
Yeah, so I'm prepared. We both have life insurance through work. I have, 971.
Okay.
And he has the SGLI Max, which I think is somewhere around 3. And then because of your show, actually, we just applied for a term life insurance for $1 million each.
Okay.
He was approved, so he has that, and then my application is still pending. Did
you mean to say, and I don't want to mansplain this, but did you mean to say that you have about 971,000 through work?
I have 971,000.
And then I assume, since you have the ability to do this as an attorney and the wherewithal and the knowledge, if not you could seek the knowledge, you probably have final documentation, correct?
We do. Although we haven't updated it since we had our second son, but our first set says, all subsequent issues, so I think he's covered.
Awesome. Yeah. So, this requires a leap of faith, does it not?
A little bit. I need to be a little more comfortable with not having the level of saving we've become accustomed to, I think.
But let's be honest here. Sometimes we get lost in the shuffle of money and numbers. The reason you did that is just to put yourself in a position to make a decision like this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we don't do it for any other reason than so we can live life, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to improve your quality of life, not from a lifestyle standpoint from money, but with family and being where you want to be. Although the Midwest is pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, we don't love it exactly where we are right now, but we really do love that other city we're looking at. So It's kind of a hard decision. I'm in the running for a job there. he's in the running for a job in
Sure.
in California.
Well, I know where you're talking about.
Right, obviously. I think
Yes.
you probably know. So, but, you know, if it comes to I have an offer there and he has an offer in California, I honestly don't know what we'll do.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but I just don't know what we're going to do.
Well, for what it's worth, I give you 10 out of 10 Peters. 10 out of 10
Okay.
Peters, which is it's really unusual. I think it's great. You're doing a great job, and it's going to require, for a numbers person that likes details like you, this is a leap of faith, and I think that's what you're trying to get your head around.
Yeah, I think so.
So anything else I can answer for you before I let you go?
Okay, so for the VA loan, let's say we do move out there, we rent for a while, which I think makes me feel a lot better. When it comes time to buy the house, should we put down more than the 10% that reduces the funding fee and save up more money so we can do that, or do you think the 10% is enough?
I'm going to give you a weird non-answer, and I'm going to pre-apologize for it. If it motivates you to save more towards the down payment fund, have at it. Keep going.
Okay.
Fill that sucker up. But then it will at least give you the option at the time. I don't think, let's say you move a few months from now, you're not going to buy for another year. Who knows what the real estate market and the economy are doing? I don't want to give you a set answer there because I just think too many things could change.
Yeah,
Maybe you don't have the job you want. Maybe your income's not what you want, so you'd rather have a little more emergency fund if you want to view it that way.
Yeah.
And you're unlikely to get a 15-year mortgage out there, right?
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to have to be 30.
Yeah, so, there's just too many moving pieces for me to give that answer. If everything's going swimmingly, like it seems to do for your family, from what you've shared with us financially, then, put more down. But if anything is less than ideal, then I would probably just put down the minimum.
Okay. And then related question, my last one, I promise.
Oh, ask all you want.
So for this year, I have that $9,000 saved for the IRAs, and I'm planning to bump that up to the full amount before the end of the year.
Sure.
Should I put it into the IRAs this year, or should I save that for whatever potential changes are coming?
Put it in the IRAs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have enough contingency plans, enough funds for this and that. I don't think, while I do think you need to be aggressive of how much you set aside, I don't think you need to move too much of that money to the now.
Okay.
Right? I think you can still look towards the future.
Okay, that's reassuring.
But can you please give us an update on this when you find out more? I love to know what's happening.
Yeah, I definitely will.
So shoot us an email, and good job, congrats, and pre-congrats to both of you for getting those jobs.
Thank you, Pete. I appreciate the help.
My pleasure. That's it for this week's show. If you want to be on the show, be on the show. Go to PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. That's an interesting situation. I love it. I love it, though. But it just goes to show you, and man, I'm going to catch flack for this, but it goes to show you this. There are elements of a person's financial life that are just naturally stressful, right? Maybe having debt, not having enough income, bills aren't matching income. And then there's still stress associated with good decisions or hard good decisions to have to make. They're in a good situation. They're trying to laterally move to an equally as good situation, but it's still stressful. Fortunately, they've put themselves in a position to be able to make that decision, and I wish them the best of luck. And when I get an update, you'll get an update. That's it. I'm Pete the Planner, and I'm going to stop talking now. Goodbye.
This is where I came from. Planet Lovetron, where we drop love bombs, funk missiles, and live in soul shelters. No helter skelter. The heat don't swelter because everybody stays cool. Left many moons ago to bring the philosophies of my ancestors to another place, God. Picked the third rock, gave me to my earth family, and told me to create, and so I am. Pen in my hand, microphone on the stand. Over vinyl, I command and demand. Magnificence in an instance, I can make you dance, cry, or love. Fly as a dove, released from Everest. The fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless This harmonic presentation, it's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you love, Tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the soul controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you love, Tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the soul controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?